Hello, my name is Lizzie Wooten, and today I'm going to be speaking on women's rights in education. My thesis is women have fought through many disadvantages and obstacles to their right to an education. The reason why I chose this topic is because today women's rights is receiving a lot of press and attention, which is very important, but I'd like to narrow my scope to women's rights to an education. Today, I'm going to be focusing on three main points. 1, the education history and stigma women had to overcome. 2, the great lengths a woman had to go to in order to receive an education. And 3, Mary Wollstonecraft, her life, her education, and her family. First, women had to overcome the stigma of just being female. In ancient times, the vast majority of civic leaders and educators were male. Plato himself even spoke on women not being as intelligent as their male counterparts. As we move towards the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, women start to get a small break. Some men even began to talk openly about women's abilities in their intellectual world. However, again, we see male philosophers such as Augustine hold the line on women's lack of intelligence and abilities. Now, follow me as we run the time to about 1914. Women are still not allowed to attend Ivy League schools. Even if that same woman received the same high school education or went to the same grammar school as the men at those colleges. Even colleges like Yale would not even accept applications from women. Alright, now women were starting to get a tad angry and wanted their education. But as we see in point 2, they still had to go through great lengths to receive one. The first obstacle was the stigma associated with being a woman. The stigma that not only women had over themselves, but what men saw in women. They would also often ask themselves, would I be a bad wife if I went back to school? Would my parents even allow me? What would my male professors think of me? Would they take me seriously? Little did these women and men know how much having women in their classrooms would add strength, passion, and diversity. Lastly, I want to talk about a truly strong proponent for women's rights in education, Molly Wollstonecraft. She drew her strength from her rough upbringing. Her father was a very violent man. He didn't like seeing her strong sense of will. This will was being able to read and write, which she later on goes to teach. Mary Wollstonecraft wrote the pamphlet called The Vindication of Rights of Women. This is in reply to Edmund Burke's pamphlet, The Vindication of Men's Rights. Wollstonecraft rightfully attacked Burke's stance on hereditary privilege and called on women to stand up for the intellectualism and throw aside their female passivity. Now, before I leave, I'd love to leave you with one thought, and this is a quote from Molly Wollstonecraft herself. I do not wish women to have more power than men, but over themselves. And I could not agree more. Thank you so much for listening.